Good morning, India, and welcome to this joint episode between Ganashot and Chakra News. Uh,
Good
Sandeep and
morning,
I are
India.
back again
Welcome
for
to
this
this joint
weekend
episode
talk,
between Ganashot
and
and
let me
Chakra.
welcome Sandeep once again. Here is Sandeep. Morning, Sandeep. How are you? All fine, I hope. Back to
Good
our
morning, sir.
weekend talk.
Good to see you back. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've had what a fast-paced week this has been, and of
yes.
course, back to that old saying of Vladimir Lenin that there are years in which nothing happens, and there are weeks in which decades
Everything
happen.
happens.
So it's
Yeah.
like we are through a week now, and I think a few decades have happened. So let's make sense of
Yes.
what has just happened since we last spoke on Sunday. That's just 6 days back. It feels like a month ago. And what lies ahead?
Yep. Well, let's do
You
that.
you want to
And
start? Uh, you
wherever
want
you start, wherever you want.
let's start with Diego Garcia, sir, because the news of the day is that Iran has fired two ballistic missiles towards Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, and that's to show the range of that missile. Diego Garcia is an island territory in the Chagos archipelago. It's more than 4,000 kilometers away from Iran, and Iran has had a stated missile range of only about 2,000 kilometers. They've said so repeatedly, and that indicates that they have the capability to launch missiles up to 4,000 kilometers. That's a very significant capability that they've shown. Of course, both missiles were intercepted. One fell short of the target. The other, the Wall Street Journal report says, was intercepted by an SM-2 fired by a warship, possibly one of the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group escorts. So it's a very significant move there. I think it's the first time that anyone has attempted to target Diego Garcia with a missile or anything of that sort. So I think that is Iran, showing its capability to hit targets very far from its mainland. And on the left is actually if you're wondering what those two images are, that's something that I shared with General Shankar. This is Iran, as we were discussing earlier, has three ocean-going submarines, kilo-class submarines. One has been destroyed by the United States. The second and third, the whereabouts are not known. And that shed there possibly is where the second Iranian kilo is. It's possibly undergoing some modification of some kind. We have no idea about the status of that second and third submarine, but there's one possibility. Naval experts who have studied these images tend to believe that under that shed is an Iranian kilo undergoing some modification. But if Iran has any kind of naval capacity, any capability left in the underwater domain or even in the naval domain, it is those submarines that they have. The kilo class is one, the only navy with an ocean-going capability in the Persian Gulf region. They have a number of midget submarines. There's some 20 of them, North Korean designed submarines, of which about half of that fleet has been taken out of action. But they still retain significant capacity to interdict traffic in the Straits of Hormuz, physically interdict, apart from the mines and the missiles and drones. And this is something that I want to get General Shankar's views on. My belief is that Iran has, of course, completely blockaded the Straits of Hormuz. As we speak, there are two US marine expeditionary groups heading towards the Persian Gulf. One is closer than the other. There is the USS Tripoli, the Marine Expeditionary Force that is in the Indian Ocean right now. It's crossed the Straits of Malacca about 2 days back, and it's possibly on course to reach the Straits of Hormuz by the 25th or the 26th of this month. That is next week. Middle of next week is when they will be in position. The second one, that is the USS Boxer Expeditionary Force, that is departed San Diego about 2 days back. That is further away. I mean, that is 10,000 nautical miles. It will take them more than a week to reach. Max time 7 to 10. So they're actually converging onto the Persian Gulf, is what we understand. General Shankar, over to you. What's Trump's plan now? Is he in a trap an Iranian trap, an Iranian quagmire, boots on the ground seem to be, the order of the day now. Is Trump trapped?
No, Trump is not trapped. Look, let's put it this way. Many people will have many ideas. It's a way of looking at things. Is Trump trapped? I would say no. Is Iran trapped? I would say no. But they're both trapping each other. That's how warfare goes. Let's look at
Right.
the Trump part of the story.
Okay.
What is happening? Has he lost militarily? No.
No.
Has yeah. Is he short of energy? He is not affected. Right? What has happened? Is he has the complete Gulf kingdoms come on his side? He split the Iranians and the Gulf kingdoms
Right.
completely.
They won't talk to each
Politi-
other for a while.
No, not for a while, for a long time. As far as this regime continues and the offensive intent continues, the Gulf people won't talk to Iran, right? Iran is isolated politically. You have sorted out China, you sorted out Russia. Let's be very clear. This is happening simultaneously. Like I have always been saying, this whole story is happening in two planes. That first plane he's winning hands down, hands down. Second plane, Iran. What is in Iran? What does Iran have? Okay, I mean,
Oil
let's
and
put it
gas.
No,
Oil, gas, geography.
yeah, that is there. But apart from that, militarily, what is it left? It's got an intact army which is not being
Yeah.
attacked.
Yeah.
It can keep sitting. It can't come out. It doesn't have a navy. It doesn't have an air force. It doesn't have any form of air defense.
Right.
It doesn't have. Right, simple. Yeah, it can interfere with the Strait of Hormuz. It's going to take time to clear the Strait of Hormuz, but eventually it will. And how long will Iran continue this way? Militarily, everyone knows that militarily Iran can't continue. It is the political continuation of Iran. So
Right.
to that extent, you hear Trump. Trump says, "Okay, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want to negotiate. I don't have anyone to negotiate. I'll continue." And today, remember, USA is fighting a low-cost war. Contrary
Right.
to what many people say. I mean, I'm qualifying this. Why? He's not using modern missile systems and all that. He's using old bombs here. And all
Right.
those old bombs, another 5 years will anyway have to be thrown out. Look,
Okay.
that's ammunition. Okay?
Yeah.
He is using old bombs, penetrator bomb, bomb. What I can see is he's using old ammunition, which anyway in 4-5 years would have had to go out. He's ejecting them and putting
Getting
them
rid of
into
old
Iran.
stuff. Right.
So that sunk cost has to be replaced. Every army replaces the sunk cost regularly. Even we have. I
Yeah.
mean, let me put it in 77, when I joined artillery, okay, we were using ammunition for training of 40 vintage, 1940 vintage.
40. Okay.
So 37 years later, I was being trained. Same thing happening here. So he's training everyone with those old ammunition which America has on this. So don't think that America doesn't have sustenance. I think it has tremendous sustenance.
Right. What about the
Okay.
interceptor missiles, the Patriots, which are harder to replace?
Oh, he will get it. He might be right. That's the only thing which he'll invest in. He'll invest. Right. So that is the. So I don't think he's in a trap. America per se is not in a trap. People who are in a trap are the Gulf kingdoms. They have to be, and the rest of us who are now, bereft of oil
Dependent
and
on
gas
them.
and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Europe, China, India, who don't have energy, and we have to. We will start putting political pressure on Iran sooner or later.
Right.
It'll happen. That's how. Already people have started putting pressure on them politically. How long will Iran go out? Now look at it from I've said, look at it from the Iran point of view. Okay, 2 weeks into the war, Iran is still holding out.
Yeah.
You might have destroyed everything, but still
Yeah.
it retains the capacity to interfere, and it is zeroed on to the Strait of Hormuz, and
Right.
it has shown to everyone that you touch my energy, I'll touch your energy in a bit more serious manner, right? Now, already he's disrupted the global economy with whatever is happening in the gas sector. That
Right.
whatever has happened on the gas, Raslafan or the South Pars gas field
Yeah.
is not replaceable globally. So he's put the world at risk.
Right.
Okay, right? Notwithstanding the fact he's got no political leadership left, notwithstanding the fact that his military is operating independently in silos, everything he's achieved this, whatever. He's trained, he's prepared for this.
Hmm.
And today he says, I have adequate stock of long range missiles, which are, I think that's the only thing which is left. And he's got some short range missiles to interfere with the Strait of Hormuz. His army
Right.
is intact.
Yeah.
And he's occupied the Strait of Hormuz critical points from which, and from there the army can, interfere with the Strait of Hormuz. Right? And he's reviving his proxies.
Right.
He's reviving his proxies. He can find.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can continue with the story. Low cost war, asymmetric war, right?
Right.
Till such time he has the capability to do so. And that capability will be, look, as much as everyone's energy is not flowing out, his own energy is not flowing out. And
But I
not.
think Iran is exporting. Iran is exporting.
Wait. Let's clarify that also. If you go to the marine traffic, websites and
Right.
live traffic going and all that, in the past 5-10 days, there are about 20 tankers or 25 tankers which have gone either side.
Right.
20 have gone out, 5 have gone in. Okay, that's
Right.
it, 20. With 20 tankers, and some of them have come to India, some have gone to Pakistan, some have gone to Turkey, some have. So, with 20 tankers, the world won't survive. And they're
Right.
not his. Huh? All are not his.
Right.
And this is new. This is quite some propaganda which says Iran is happy, they're exporting. No. You think, right? So I don't think so. And that is going to stop shortly.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that will also Iran's export, whatever little tanker they're putting out, is going to stop shortly. Okay. What will the first thing this lot will do? The Marine Expeditionary Force which is coming in.
Yeah.
They'll occupy the southern bank of the Hormuz.
You mean Iranian territory?
No, it's not Iranian territory. I'm talking of the southern bank of.
UAE. The UAE and those.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Ras Al Khaimah and those places.
Yeah, I'll just show you that. Yeah, look at this. So if USA occupies this part, which they will, it's a matter of time.
Right.
Okay, why and occupying this part is not a difficult.
Right.
After all, they're going to come through land. They'll get off at Fujairah or somewhere and offload and come in. Okay, once this is occupied,
Yeah.
they'll block Iranian flow out also. Simple as that. If these chaps sitting here can stop this, people sitting here can stop anything going through. So
Right.
this see, first and foremost, Iran's control over this strait will not be unilateral. It'll become bilateral.
Yeah.
It's not one-sided. It'll become bilateral. Okay.
Right.
And then thereafter, Iran has to negotiate.
Right.
If it doesn't have to negotiate, then they will initiate action to clear the thing. So, Iran is playing it smart. I have no doubt about it.
Right.
Okay, it's not lost. But I think it's time that Iran starts negotiating politically.
Right.
Okay, because militarily, its thing is numbered. It will be a little time. It's a matter of time. Maybe 10 days, maybe 20 days, maybe a month they'll hold out. But after that, what? Right? So I don't see that this going further. Oh,
Right.
as far as the fact that they have fired up to Diego Garcia and all that is an indication. They're giving a message.
Yeah.
And the Americans knew about this. After all, it was 3 days back, Tulsi Gabbard came and said, look, Americans have the capacity to reach USA. It's not only Diego Garcia.
Pakistan.
No, not Pakistani. Iran also, it was mentioned.
Iran.
Pakistan is only one.
Yeah.
It is China, North Korea, Pakistan, and Russia, which were mentioned in that.
Right.
Okay. So, to that extent, this is not a new development. The Americans were expecting this, right? And mind you, the Americans have not used their own missiles against Iran so far. They have not had to use because they can fly anywhere they want.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And how many days will you continue? The point is, how many days will Iran continue this isolation, economic isolation, political isolation, and military isolation?
Right.
So I don't think USA is lost. I don't think Iran has either lost. They've suffered a lot of damage, but they're holding out.
Right.
But
Jan Shankar, that point that you made about Ras Al Khaimah, and that's why I cottoned on to it, is that the IRGC has issued an evacuation warning. It's just coming in to the residents of Ras Al Khaimah, saying that the Emirates is being used for operations against the Iranian islands, and it will become a target. It may become a target in the near future, which means
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. They'll get this thing. They will see. Iranians have to deny this part, Ras Al Khaimah, to the Americans. But can they stop it? Just like you can't stop Iranians from occupying their territory, they will do this. How much capability they have? They'll fire 2, 3, 4, 5 missiles. Then what? Look, at this point of time, please remember, I'll get the map back. Please remember, all Iranians can do is fire their missiles.
Yeah.
And the more they fire their missiles now into the Gulf states and hit civilians and all that, the more politically they are losing. Look, war is just not fighting and firing missiles. There is a political angle to it which Iran is losing. Iran is losing big time. Already Qatar has said, sorry. And mind you, Iran has lost Al Jazeera.
Has Al Jazeera turned on them?
Yes. You see that article with about how America is winning. They've got an article 2 days back, not now, 2 days back.
Right.
A day before this gas attack on Ras Laffan gas thing took out, they came out with it. In fact, I analyzed it 2 days back in Gunner Shot. In my update, I analyzed it separately. Why America is winning this war and coming from Al Jazeera. And I said, this is new. Okay. So, those of you who are not this thing, please have a look. There's a article, there's a video I put out, Trump's victories. Cold in Cuba, hot in Iran. I've analyzed that article. Right? So, I mean, the way I look at it, this war is going actually to me on predictable lines.
Right.
With a few things.
What is the end state that you see? And how long do you think the war is going to last?
Look, the end state is a political agreement.
Right.
Close, open Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
That's the first part of this end state. Second part, Iran's oil. You see, there's another action which has been happened, which will impact many things.
Iranian oil.
Unsanctioning Iranian oil. And all that oil which is floating on tankers will be taken. And it will be dumped into the global system.
Right.
Okay. And
stabilize oil prices.
If Iran is smart, they'll say, okay, thank you, we'll stop this war, we'll open everything and get me into the global system. If Iranian oil comes into the global system under the American thing, he's home and free. He's won. Actually, that will be a victory for Iran.
Okay, right.
Okay, that will be a victory for Iran.
Don't you think, Jan Shankar, that the fact that the regime has that alone is victory for Iran?
No, look, it's like, so what if the regime continues? If the regime continues under the American economic umbrella, Trump doesn't matter what happens to Iran. And if Iran stops talking of destruction of Israel and destruction of
US,
that, he wouldn't mind. He didn't mind Delcy Rodriguez taking over there. How is he this thing? He's dealing with Vladimir Putin on a one-to-one basis, right? So we have to think differently about this war. This is not victory by, this victory or loss is not like what we are used to, that what we did in 1971, that we went in and, all that. This is a completely different story which is going on.
Yes. But I'm looking at it from the framing of this right in the first day on the 28th of February when the US and Israel went into this thing. They said their stated goals were regime change, destroying Iran's capacity to launch ballistic missiles. All those things that they put out there. If you have not changed the regime, you've replaced Khamenei 1.0 with Khamenei 2.0. Isn't it like Afghanistan, but in a compressed time frame? Taliban
Okay,
1.0
let me
versus
ask
Taliban
you this
2.0.
question. Yeah, I agree with you. What isn't Taliban 1.0 different from Taliban 2.0?
Taliban 2.0 is another generation of leaders.
Same
20
thing will
years
happen
later.
here.
Yeah.
Same thing will
So-
happen here.
So the regime change
No,
is being, yeah.
no,
Which
no,
regime
wait.
is
Look, wait. Sandeep, please. You are fixed about this concept of regime change.
right?
I'm not arguing for Americans. I'm arguing a case, okay? A case in point. Just like Taliban 1.0 is different from Taliban 2.0, Taliban
Right.
2.0 is friendly to America, it's friendly to India. We
Right.
never thought of it, isn't it, 4 years back? Did
Yes.
we? When American forces quit Afghanistan in so-called defeat, okay, did we think a situation 4 years later, 5 years
Right.
later, a situation will come when Pakistan and Afghanistan are at war? China is trying to mediate, and China is also trying to quit Afghanistan.
Right.
And suddenly, yeah, Afghanistan is friendly to you. Afghanistan is now listening to the dictates from America. Did you think of it?
Uh, but you're coming back to the
Wait.
Iranian thing.
I'm
Uh,
no, wait. No, wait,
regime
please.
change is
Sandeep,
which
Sandeep,
regime?
no,
Yeah.
Sandeep, because we are looking at it from the prism of our mind,
Right.
right? 4 years back, for us, the Taliban was something Qatar, anti-India.
Yeah. Right.
All Taliban will come into JNK. Yeah, all that. Did it happen? No.
It didn't because of
So,
the thing rivalry between Afghanistan and Pakistan. So
so
your
something.
enemy is your friend. That's the thing.
Good. Now that you're coming to thinking this
Right.
way, isn't there a rivalry between Iran and the rest of the Gulf states?
That of course, but that is
So
the
please, no,
unintended
wait,
consequence.
Sandeep, no, don't look at it immediately. Many people are making this mistake. The Iranian regime, based on the IRGC, might continue.
Right.
Okay, the old IRGC is broken.
The leadership, you mean? The entire leadership.
Yeah, all leadership is gone. 4 rungs of leadership are gone. They'll
Right.
continue to fight, all that. The world will might frame this as a defeat for America, right?
Right.
But at the end of this, if Iran has to recover, after all, there are people of Iran who
Yeah.
have to be answered to.
Right.
Iran have to be given an answer by whoever is at the head, whether it is Mojtaba or whoever. Okay, what will he answer them? Remember, 3 months back there was an uprising in Iran for
Yeah.
financial collapse. You think Iran will emerge from this financially strong?
It's possibly going to be like North Korea. That's my sense. A
No,
hardline, inward-looking state.
I think we have to change our thinking, because North Korea doesn't have energy to export,
Right.
right? Neither will the recovery take place like North Korea. North Korean recovery was aided by China and Russia.
Right.
Please get into history. Okay, get into history how North Korea has reached this point. Go back to the time of Syngman Rhee and Kim Il Sung and all that.
Right. Right.
Okay, you go and how Russia helped create North Korea, and how later when Russia collapsed, China came into the deal. The trajectory of North Korea is very different from the trajectory of Iran. Okay, Iran is today, look, that's why I said it is politically isolated. Yesterday, what Qatar did is something different.
Right.
They're not going to get friendship from the rest of the Gulf states. Their energy, if this southern bank
State
of
of Hormuz. Yeah.
is occupied, whatever Iran does to others, everyone will
Yeah.
do to Iran. If
Right.
that is happens, then everyone who's dependent on Iran will tell Iran, "What are you doing? Yaar? Don't be a fool." उसको भी तो
Right.
पैसा चाहिए यार.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
and there will be a lot of political pressure on Iran to backtrack.
Right.
Right? Whoever the leader, even most of they can talk big now. Even Taliban spoke hell of a lot then.
Yeah, yeah.
See, the equivalent you said is Taliban. Go back 4 years back. What was the time when you thought?
But did they actually think that Khamenei, the idea was to collapse the regime and get the people to then overthrow the regime like it happened in 1979? I think that is the
Wait, that's
biggest
what you think, no?
miscalculation.
No, that's what you think.
That's why he
Look,
asked
that's
for the
what
people
you.
to rise up. That's why he
No,
said,
I
rise up.
agree with you.
I'm coming. I'm sending people. I'm
Sandeep,
sending carriers.
Sandeep,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, whatever you're saying. But that is your idea of what was to happen.
Right.
That was one way of collapsing the regime. The other way was military. The other was political. A fourth way is financial. This
Right.
is complete. You look at it. We are talking of multi-domain warfare. Yeah,
Right.
multi-domain warfare is not only about sky and space and this and that. It's also about politics. It's also about
Yeah.
perceptions. It's also so many other things.
The
It is also
economy
about
and energy and all
resources.
of that.
Yeah, all that. So everything is being played out. If everything is being played out, right? Because I mean, all of us, we are all, we have fallen into that mental trap that of what is victory, what is defeat. We have fallen into the trap of outcomes in this time frame. This outcomes, if you judge in this particular time frame, I'm afraid that we have lost the story. Look at it 1 year ahead, 6 months ahead, 4 months ahead, 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead. And now, I mean, I never thought of this equivalence between what's happened to Taliban and this. You triggered the thought process now.
Yeah.
I must say so.
No, sir, but that is an unintended consequence. You can frame it whichever way you want. That, the US grand strategy was to replace Taliban 1.0 with
No.
Taliban, but it's just emerged that way. That's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's going to happen. No,
Yeah.
many things, in life you can't you can't exactly define the outcomes. You can only see
Right.
what are the kinds of outcomes which will happen. Right. Okay, let me flip the question back to you. What do you think is the end game in this story? Forget US, forget Iran, forget everything. What do you think is the end game in this whole offensive? Your views.
My sense is that they went into this operation, um,
I am not
exactly like
asking
a
you this
doctor.
operation. No.
No,
Let
no,
me not.
I'm just
I'm pinning you.
starting from
I'm
January.
pinning you to something. I'm pinning you to something.
I'll just
What do
take
you
you
see is
down.
the end game? Yeah, go ahead.
January, he basically picks up Venezuela. He takes, and that was like an impossible thing. Nobody thought this could be done. Never in history, I think, has the leader of one country been abducted and taken to another country in the middle of a siege. It's never happened. It must have happened in the medieval times and all that. The
Yeah.
Raja being abducted and taken away in the battle and stuff. It never happened in the 21st century. So my sense is that kind of, they said we can adopt a similar thing here, a joint Israeli-US strike to decapitate the leadership. The whole thing will collapse. The people will then rise up in revolt, and which is why in January on, you see the thing, people of Iran, rise up. And the people, as you pointed out, since December, there's been economic collapse. The people are very upset. There is there's economic discontent, all of that. But in January, I think he spoke too quickly. The carriers were not in position. The military plan was not there. So they decided to go with whatever they had. Right? They did that on the Feb 28th. Now, again, the calculation was the regime would collapse quickly. They would.
It's not.
It hasn't happened. Now, they have been fighting 22 days. I don't think it's happened in the 21st century, at least, that one country has resisted the United States for 22 days. Whatever you may say, they may not be on the ground.
Look, Sandeep, we know this story.
Yeah.
I'm asking
Now,
you a simple question. No, please
end
wait.
state.
I'm asking you one simple question. What is the end state of this war? It's not
The-
Iranian, it is not US. How do you see this war ending?
So the war now, the fact is that the Iranian regime, whatever is in place, the Trump will want an off-ramp. Like you said, it is a political thing. It will be a political decision. They will escalate to de-escalate. Now, I'm not very clear where we are on that. It's obviously not going to go nuclear. Somewhere below that. So, like you said, they will capture territory to negotiate with the Iranians.
How will they
My
capture territory? Which
so my
territory?
sense was, I've been saying this for about 2 weeks now, 10 days, that I think it was Karg Island. But Karg is very risky to capture and hold.
It's
right?
not risky, it's impossible to capture.
Okay. So
No, look,
right.
no, wait,
Yeah.
wait. Look, you've been saying this on India Today also, I've seen.
Yes, yes.
Karg Island.
Yeah.
But to capture Karg Island, you have to first capture Strait of Hormuz.
Right. Because it is
You
Karg
don't-
Island is 480 kilometers west of the Straits of Hormuz.
How will you
And
go
have to
there?
through the entire
How will you
thing.
go there?
Uh, you can go by ships, but then
No,
there are
how
no submarines.
will a ship go there? There's no ships here.
They'll have to transit the Straits of Hormuz, as in because
Also,
the
you can't transit the Strait of Hormuz.
you have to fight your way through, and it's a gauntlet.
Yeah, so you have to.
you have
So
friendly on one
so-
side and enemy
yeah,
on the
okay,
other side.
okay. Look, let me talk as a military man now.
Yes,
Okay, you have to understand this how this battle will unfold before you think that they will go to Karg Island. Okay, there is something called troops to task.
yes,
In what is troops to task? For every task which you have to carry out, how many troops will you need?
right.
Okay, look at this. So you have said they have to fight through Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah,
If they have to fight through Strait of Hormuz, they have to first capture this, secure this.
The
You
flanks.
can't go through Strait of Hormuz and head to Karg Island, leaving this intact with the Iranians.
You mean the northern flanks?
Yeah. This strait has two. So you can go and occupy this. And you can occupy this and be happy and start engaging them. So
Right.
there's a counter political pressure on them and the counter economic pressure on them. And the next thing is something which let me explain. There are 4 islands here called Abu Musa.
Yeah.
You can't see it
Greater
in this.
Tun, Lesser Tun.
Yeah, Greater Tum, Lesser Tum, Abu Musa, Sikri, and Lakkad. And then this Quesham Island is 120 kilometers long. It's a
Yes.
fortress. And
Yes.
don't think this is the exit. What about this side? What about this side? This is also 130, 140 kilometers. You're now looking at transiting a mouth of 300 kilometers. And you
Right.
can transit a ship through this without securing it. You need to secure it. Do you know how much troops will be required to secure this? This will be a proper breachhead operations. They don't
Right.
have that kind. You'll need 3 divisions.
3.
We are
What
looking
about an
Huh?
airborne assault on Karg? Can it be done purely from
How-
the Kuwait and Iraq
And
side,
then how will you sustain that airborne assault?
through
How do you know? Just because a
sea.
few guns and all have been knocked out, have you knocked out all the infantry there?
on the island?
You have to catch that island, yeah?
Yeah.
Airborne
So the
means how
island-
much will you put? Maximum a battalion.
The island
And they are
is
light on
20
weapons.
Yeah, the island is 20
Please,
kilometers. big. Yeah.
Sandeep, take it from an old army man. Okay? It is not possible. That is harakiri.
Right.
Doing that is harakiri. That is an island too far. After a bridge
Right.
too far, and
Right.
market garden, this will be island too far. And this will go down in the annals of, if they attempt this will go down in the annals of American history as the worst operation they've done. Okay.
Who was it? Scott Bessent who said that they're going to take over. We are going to sing. The White House said on Friday that the United States can take out Iran's Karg Island anytime President Donald
They
Trump
can
gives
take
them-
out.
Yeah.
They can take out. Wait, they can take
Dismantle it.
out.
Yeah.
They can dismantle, fire, all that. But they can, neutralize it. but capturing it is a different story altogether. Scott Bessent is a bloody what shall I say, is a Wall Street character यार. कहाँ उसको
Right.
तुम बोल रहे हो कि उसके बात पे चल रहे हो? Let's see. We are now on ground, Sandeep.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to force my way through, please.
Right. Right.
All I'm trying to tell you is ground is different.
Right.
You have to capture ground. To capture ground, you need good old infantry.
Right.
Marines can do, difficult tasks, but
Right.
Marines have to be relieved by normal infantry, which
Yes.
America doesn't have.
Right.
And why do you have to capture Kargil Island? Let me ask you this question.
Leverage against the Iranians.
So,
It's
okay,
the most
that's it.
valuable real estate in Iran.
Okay, that is good. Now, do I get the same thing by capturing between Argyle Island and Strait of Hormuz, which is more valuable?
Strait of Hormuz is valuable. Yeah, for the I would say both are
I
equally
think
important.
if you
One is easier.
capture, wait, no, nothing is easy in this. Both are difficult.
Right.
Okay, and they're very complicated and difficult. Let me tell you this: capture of Hormuz Strait or control of
Yeah.
Hormuz Strait also blocks or opens Kargil Island.
Right.
Kargil Island is dependent on the Strait of Hormuz. It's not the other way around.
Right.
Kargil Island, not Kargil Island, Strait of Hormuz, control of Strait of Hormuz denies Iran the capability to control oil flows and affect
Right.
global energy flows. Okay, so
Right.
Strait of Hormuz is the center of gravity.
Right.
If America, and I'm sure you'll see it playing out, if America has got a iota of military sense, they will get hold of
Straits of
the
Hormuz.
Strait of, yeah, and
Right.
that is the where the whole battle is going. And let me now explain how this will be done
Right.
or should be done. And mind you, remember, America doesn't have that forces to do so at this point of time.
Right.
They can't capture the Strait of Hormuz completely. Right? What they would do is occupy this, Ras Al Khaimah, this is called Musandam Peninsula.
Yes.
Right? This is Musandam Peninsula. This is Oman territory, incidentally. So
Right.
they will occupy this. Once they occupy this, then they have some negotiation across the Strait of Hormuz, this
Yeah.
way and that way. Then these islands they can capture. Marine expeditionary forces. There's Tun, Greater Tum, Lower Tun, Abu Musa,
The smaller
Sikka,
islands. Right.
smaller islands. The moment you
Yes.
capture these smaller islands, then you start affecting this Kushim.
Right.
And you can screen Kushim out and then open the Strait of Hormuz. Similarly,
Right.
when you are in Musandam Peninsula, and I really don't know the exact things, you can then start getting hold of these ports here, Jusk and all that. Right? And simultaneously, you have to keep plastering them with air, artillery, AO, and all that. And when you
Right.
get to this area of Musandam Peninsula, you can deploy ATACMs here.
Right.
Okay? This is
Which
just
have a
33.
300 kilometer range.
Yeah. Then on ground, and you start hitting them. And you change the story then. Then you have dual control over the whole Strait of Hormuz. You can also
Right.
control it, he can also control it.
Right.
So he has to come to political solution. You don't have to do all those great Khalistanistic to go to Kargil Island and get isolated. Right? So when the Strait of Hormuz is the center of
Yeah.
gravity, and the moment you do that, you shift the focus of the story away, and he'll keep firing long range rockets. Let him fire how many more?
Right. Right.
So that's the way I look at it. So I want your views on this. I mean,
No, I think it's a great thing. What you just said is that the Straits of Hormuz could be a valve. I mean, that's the most important valve right now. And if that could be achieved at a far lesser cost than going all the way, fighting your way in 400 kilometers, then they possibly have done that. But then, they don't capture any Iranian territory in that sense.
you don't need to.
Yeah. So
They-
they regulate.
Look, Sandeep, again, Trump has very clearly said, I will not put boots on ground.
Right. But
He's
he's
not
been
interested
wavering
in.
on that. He's been
No. He's
yes,
very
no,
clear.
I've not ruled
I
it
mean,
out. Yeah.
Sandeep, again, if you read Trump, react to Trump's statements every day,
Right.
then you will never read him. My, I have read him very clearly. My way of reading, he'll not put a single boot on ground. He'll
Right.
put boots on ground in that Musandam Peninsula, capture a few islands, plaster the north, this thing. He gets control over the southern bank of Strait of Hormuz. Then he can have political leverage of controlling the Strait of Hormuz 50%. Then the argument
God.
is 50-50.
General Shankar, I was just thinking that this is a much larger thing of Pangongso Lake. If you can look at it, this is a supersized version of Pangong. North Bank, South Bank. North Bank is with
बस
them. South Bank is with us. So,
वही कहानी है. You
minus the
control a
violence.
waterway, there are two banks to the waterway.
Right.
Depends on who controls that waterway. If both control the either side of the waterway, nothing will flow through. So they
Right.
have to come through a political solution.
Right.
It's staring in your eyes, yeah.
Right. So, the Iranians in between, I was just thinking about this thing that, was it Aragachi who said that we will have to negotiate a new thing on the Straits of Hormuz, like the Suez Canal and the Bosphorus Straits and all. The difference, of course, is the Bosphorus and Suez are within a country, one country, whereas Hormuz is not.
They'll not. No one will look after what has happened here.
Yeah.
Which country will agree to Iran controlling the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because the entire Arabian Peninsula then is vulnerable. Why
No
would
one
they
will
allow-
agree.
They
Because
no,
tomorrow,
I don't think India will agree to that.
no one will agree.
Yeah.
Gulf states won't agree, right? All that won't agree. But look, something else is going to happen. And this is
Right.
something which Netanyahu said yesterday.
Right.
He said there's a requirement for us to bypass both the Bab al Mandeb and, Strait of Hormuz and cut across.
That is the IMEC.
And you're looking IMEC. You're
the
looking at the
landward,
IMEC.
this thing, yes.
Yeah, you're looking. I'm looking at that, and if you can, bypass this, and you can bypass this and go through, and you instead of using Jebel Ali, you use Fujairah and you use Duqm in Oman, and you can cut through directly, and that actually Iran is facilitating,
Right. Or
By the
rather
way-
accelerating by
accelerating. Okay. Netanyahu has said this. Sooner or later, Saudi Arabia and UAE will say this.
Right.
Right? And say, okay, the moment that happens, that agreement starts getting concretized, Iran loses its significance.
Yeah.
Yemen loses its significance.
Right.
And pipelines can carry more oil than, tankers.
Tankers. Right.
Yeah.
No,
And
I think General Shankar. What? Sorry, please continue.
yeah, so you'll see this flip taking place.
Right.
Why I'm saying, look at this whole story 3 months ahead,
Yeah.
6 months ahead. This is the story I'm getting at.
Right.
The victory is not. Look, Clausewitz. I go back to Clausewitz.
Yeah.
War is politics by other means.
Absolutely. Couldn't
Trump
agree with
wants
you
a
more.
political victory.
Right.
Okay. Trump's political victory would be if IMEC comes through, Iran is kept out of the
Out of the
equation.
equation. Yeah.
Everything, it's political victory. He's still
Right.
got the Middle East. He still controls oil. And
Right.
he'll still end up controlling half of Hormuz.
Right.
He'll still control, which means he's still got pressure on Iran. Look
Right.
at it, step back and think, right?
Right.
Look at Iran. If Iran wants political victory, it should say, okay, I'll negotiate.
Right.
Iran is still winning.
Yes.
Militarily, it is holding out.
Yeah.
For Iran, holding out is victory.
Yes.
At this point of time, he's holding out his victory.
Yeah. He's
That-
victory. Yeah.
That military victory has to be converted into a political settlement, which will be victory for him.
Yes.
If he can get Iran,
Survival.
if he can
Yeah.
get, if he can get USA, it's not survival. I'm not looking at survival. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm looking at settlement.
Right.
If he can get a political settlement where USA agree to whatever some of his demands, the Gulf countries agree to some of his demands, and he can send his oil out, he is victory.
Yeah, that's right.
What is victory for Iran? I mean, unless you define what is victory for Iran, will you get a handle on this?
Right. No, and my sense also is that I mean we were discussing in the India Today, conference 2 days back, and somebody raised the question. I'm not sure who. Will the US be forced out of the Gulf? I said absolutely not. In fact,
No.
the US is now going to be deeper entrenched in
Deeper
the
in the Gulf, yes.
The GCC countries will say, "Sorry, we only allowed you so much of the bases. Now take little more." Come in on a longer, and like you said, see what you've actually outlined, that the fact is that they are going to occupy the southern thing of the Straits of Hormuz. If the US is there at the Straits of Hormuz, then he is already controlling something like 30% of the world's oil and energy. He may not directly control Iran's thing, but by sitting there at the mouth in force and a permanent presence, he has militarized the Straits of Hormuz, and he has reason to stay there, and he can probably, fly a flag of victory or a mission accomplished or something like that. To say NATO, and look, he's been asking NATO to do this. Please do this. They said, no, we don't have forces. We don't want to come in.
See,
He called
they'll
them
fall in
cowards.
line.
Yeah.
They'll fall in line. You
Right.
see, it's a matter of a few days.
Right.
Okay, let's wait and see how it goes. I'm not
Right.
saying I'm going to be 100% right. I might not be. But
Yeah.
whatever, I mean, I'll take the credit for it. Whatever I have said of Trump has come true.
Okay.
Okay.
And my sense is also that he would not want Iranian regime to vanish at this point, because if Iran vanishes, then you don't have leverage over the GCC.
Okay. No, Iran won't vanish.
Yeah, as in
I
the
mean, let's not-
regime and the IRGC and everything.
We are now clear that this regime also won't vanish.
Yeah,
But the regime can be modified.
right.
Right? This regime can be modified. The whole story is today political.
Right.
If today, you see, this is the off ramp. Actually, this is the off ramp stage
Yeah,
to go political.
right,
This is the second off ramp which Trump has got today to go political.
right. Which was the
Will
first
they
one?
go I thought after the initial strikes, 3-4 days, he had a
Feb
off ramp to
28th.
get off.
Yeah, Feb 28th, the thing.
After
Feb-
4-5 days, he had
First
the
of
off ramp
March,
to get
yes.
out. I've done the
He's right.
strike. I've done this. I've taken the
Yes.
leader out. Thank you. I'm
I've
going
taken
out.
him out, and yeah.
Right?
Which
Then
is
I'll
what
deal with the next.
Blinken kept saying. Blinken kept saying, take the off ramp, declare victory,
Yeah.
exit. Don't get stuck in this.
So he didn't, but he's come here. This is the second time where there's an off ramp available.
Right, right.
Let's see how it goes.
Yes, absolutely. Jan Shankar, I want to come in because we have talked a lot about the US, Iran, their interests, their strategies, their end games. What is it in it for India? What are the big lessons for us in this? Because, I mean, how often are you going to get your energy lifelines threatened like this? Every 20 years or so, this happens,
Yeah.
right? You have
Yeah.
a crisis in the Gulf and immediately you're crying, oh, there are 1 million Indians stuck over there. 50% of our energy comes from there. Our gas, chula nahi jal raha hai. All of those problems. How do you overcome? This is a very serious problem. Like you have.
Look, you have to find alternate forms of energy.
Right, absolutely. And how would you do that? In a
Look,
decade.
one-
In a decade.
The first thing is you go nuclear.
Nuclear. What
And
percentage?
nuclear, you can go up to 30% nuclear.
30. Now you're about what? Less than 10, not even 10.
Less than 10. See, look at France. France has gone nuclear.
60. They're 60%. 65, I think.
Yeah.
60 or 65.
Yeah. So you go nuclear and you have the capability of going nuclear. We are on a program, thorium.
Yeah.
You have to accelerate that thorium cycle.
Right.
You have to accelerate that thorium cycle, right? I don't know how much you can accelerate technically, but I think in the next 5 to 6 years, you should be able to get thorium-based energy from Kalpakam. But you have to enlarge that story at pace.
Right.
You have to widen that thing. So that is one, because the thorium 3-stage thorium cycle which we are going through is different from the uranium cycle. You can't, and it is different from the molten salt reactor cycle.
Right.
ये भी बता रहा हूँ. The normal way for thorium to go is the molten salt reactor. That's what China is doing. Okay,
Right.
but
Right.
we have not adopted the molten salt reactor route. We have gone through the um, half thorium. Let's say it's a hybrid system, but we are successful at it. We will be successful at it. It's a matter of time. The moment you are successful at it, you have to replicate that all over. Okay, so that is something which will take, in my way of looking at it, at least 20 years.
20 years.
That is,
Like a
yeah,
generation.
that is one. Yeah,
Right.
that is one. And the second thing is, I think we need to get big into Venezuela. See,
For
today, oil, because Venezuela, you have good equation with the ruling lot today.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how many people know that Delcy Rodriguez is a devotee of Satya Sai Baba.
Sai Baba.
She comes
Yeah,
every year.
Satya Sai.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That oil only India can refine.
Yeah.
And some countries, some refineries in America and some in China. You rule China out at this point of time. So you have two wells out there. And that's the
Yeah.
biggest story there, you know. And you are not okay. And USA is okay with you. Okay. Today, let's
Yeah.
face facts. USA controls Latin America complete. That
Right.
takeover is done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the
if-
backyard. It's become an American backyard.
backyard. So you want to
Cuba
enter
is
that
also
backyard.
Cuba will fall in the next couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
Cuba
it
is
seems.
fallen already. They have put the
Yeah.
white flag up.
Yeah.
Okay. So they will. So if you have to enter there, you need US backing, which is there. They want you there. So there's oil there, and
Right.
it's tough to get it out. But we have two wells. We have experience. Go there, get that out. Then you have to go into renewables.
Right.
Okay. Then you have to also. I mean, you have to have a multi-pronged energy
A diverse
approach.
basket. Yeah.
Okay, diversify your sources,
Yeah.
right? And that's the only way. But do we have that kind of a thing? Look at that's here I admire China. China is in a worse position than us to start with. Today, China
Energy-wise.
is not, yeah, energy wise, but today China is not so affected
Yeah.
as us. Even now. In the long term, if China doesn't get this oil, there are going to be other problems. There are going to be economic problems.
Right.
And because of China's structure, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Okay. But they'll not lack energy for basics. But we will lack energy for basics. So we have to change our
Yeah.
method of doing things. Right?
You know, and
I
here I
think-
must bring in. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, yours, all yours, all yours. Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
Shankar Iyer, a senior journalist, author, economist, political economy writer, he mentioned this line and that hit me. You know, he said, "We're leading a ship-to-stove existence with LNG," and that reminded me of PL 480 when we were importing
Yeah.
wheat.
Yeah,
you know,
and of course,
it's not allowed to happen. Yeah,
no. And of course, IMEC.
Yeah.
IMEC. Look, you should be the one who will give Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia a alternate to India.
yeah,
They will be okay. You don't want to go towards Israel? Come this side. Come to Dukum. You already have a presence. Oman, you are good. UAE,
so
you are good.
a pipeline from India to Oman, India-Oman gas pipeline.
See, you don't need a gas pipeline. You can be dependent. Okay. But the fact is that overland Qatar to Oman, connect pipelines.
Right.
And from Oman, Dukum and this thing. And come out. In any case, after this, Iran will not get into a war in a hurry. We don't know how. See, we are all presuming that the current regime will survive.
Yeah.
There will be political upheavals within Iran. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No, it's no easy
So-
way for the regime. They're going to be they already are in a very tight spot.
Tight spot. So
Legitimacy will
so-
be questioned and, all
yeah.
that.
So I think we are in for a time where we need to be nimble on how we do things, and diversify. And for all this, you need good defense. You need your security. You can't go with the sub 1.4% on defense, out of question.
You think we need to increase the defense budget?
You don't have a choice. You are now fooling yourself so far. This government, let me make a categoric statement, has been fooling itself for the past 10 years. despite all the hype.
Uh,
We are fooling ourselves by not investing into defense. Why do you need General Raj Shukla to come and tell you on your program in India Today that we need 2 lakh drones? Don't you think we needed it 5 years back, 10 years back? Didn't we see
yeah,
it?
yeah.
I remember moving a case for drones, similar loitering ammunition, 10 years back. Not even 10, sorry, let me go back. 2008.
That's
2008, I
almost
moved
20
a
years.
case. Yes, I have moved. I'm telling you physically. This was the time of Congress government, UPA government. These cases were only going up and down
Why is
from
it?
then to
Why is
now.
there no thing? Is it a thing of turf? Is it an issue of turf? Is it vested
I don't
interest? What
know.
is it?
That's why I
Right.
said our government system, our MOD security system has to change. I still remember the Joint Secretary asking me, Brigadier, if we get this, can we hit the Pakistanis across without going across? I remember I said yes. He said I'm passing it.
Oh, okay.
But it then never saw the light of the day. Then it's not seen the light of the day today. Today you are
So,
saying I want drones.
I made this comment again on India Today. Somebody Gaurav asked me, what is the one big thing that you want to see? So I said the one thing, because there's so much noise. I said on the 15th of August 2025, the Prime Minister of India said Mission Sudarshan Chakra. I said, please get that in the time frame that he has set out, and use the ATVP architecture, the Advanced Technology Vessel Program, which you
Yeah,
realize a
Sandeep,
nuclear submarine.
Sandeep,
Use-
that architecture is unique, different. Don't
Yeah.
replicate it. I go with your thing. Haven't you and I had a talk about Sudarshan Chakra?
Absolutely. Offensive and defensive, both.
Defensive, right?
Non-contact kinetic warfare.
Don't we have a terrific missile system, missile development capability?
Among the best in the world.
We have.
Yeah.
You have your own technology. You have everything. If you can develop a missile, you can develop a drone. Why haven't you done it? I am dealing in this technology a day in day out. I know this technology well.
So I must
I have
ask you
to.
then, why haven't we done it so far?
Or bureaucracy or military. I'm not. You forget about the bureaucracy. It's our military. We are on turf wars. The Air Force and the Navy fight. The Air Force, Navy, and the Army fight. Who has to have what? We have problems somewhere else. Not capability to develop them. We have problems in our bureaucracy. It's a military bureaucracy and the civil bureaucracy, and our government and our political thinking is different. I mean, we are looking at a nation where the prime minister of the country stood up on the ramparts of the Red Fort and said, I will have 3 theater commands in 3 years. It's been 9 years now. So there's no point in what you're saying that the prime minister goes to Red Fort and says, I want drones. It might not happen. It's not happened in theater commands. He said,
Yeah,
we
remember
will have.
very clearly, yes.
Yes, it's in a PIB statement. Press that we will have theater commands in 3 years. He's very clearly said that day. I'm appointing a chief of defense staff. He will tell me what to do, not to do. हमारा इतना रद्दी system है. This is frustration coming out. When Bipin Rawat met with an accident and died, for 2 years we didn't have a chief of defense staff also. Hey, Anil Chauhan came later.
Yeah.
देखो हमारा जो political system ना is been hijacked by the bureaucracy, and we are in a situation where our bureaucracy, politically, military, and the normal civil bureaucracy have hijacked our system. Unless that reform happens, forget it, and you will do nothing.
That's a very dark assessment.
I'm giving you a personal example. No,
Yes.
everyone says no. Everyone talks.
Yeah.
Oh, you've done a lot of thing for artillery. Snehesh Alex Philip told me, sir, you're the father of modern artillery. I was not the father of modern artillery. The father of modern artillery was Manohar Parrikar, because he gave me the political thing. He said,
Yes,
Shankar,
absolutely.
get me the ammunition, get me the guns. and everything opened. So the political clarity has to be there. Then everything will happen. And political clarity is not making a statement. The political clarity comes in
Execution.
every day monitoring what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I remember one day when he rang me up from Ratlam. I said,
Right.
"Sir, what are you doing in Ratlam?" He said, "No, ye chodo tum. Tum kahan ho?" I was somewhere in Goa and we had to move a file in Delhi. We were speaking and moving files in Delhi. He was sitting somewhere, I was sitting somewhere.
My God. So he was giving speaking orders.
Yeah, and this was at 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
I was groggy, you know, and first thing I said, यार ये फोन चल रहा है, देखा तो ये रक्षा मंत्री बात करना चाहते हैं, यार शंकर कहाँ हो तुम? मैंने कहा सर गोवा में हूँ. मैंने कहा सर आप कहाँ हो? It just came out in the early in the morning. He says I'm in Ratlam. वो बात छोड़ो, ये फाइल कहाँ है अभी?
Oh.
अब 4:30 बजे. You need that kind of commitment, यार. I'm missing him.
We are all missing him.
Yeah.
I can't tell you one day that I don't miss Manohar Parrikar. It is,
Right, I'm missing him. Okay. Hey, I'm sorry I got a little carried away.
No, I share your emotion, Jan Shankar. I mean, I have seen Manohar Parrikar from very close, and
Okay.
I've never met a defense minister like him. I must say that.
Okay.
It's,
Right. Sandeep, I have a program at 10:30,
Yes,
so we have to
yes.
wind up fast.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
let's take some questions, and it's what a fascinating
I'll
session.
take
this has been.
Yeah, let me first go through the start questions and thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Then Abhishek Trivedi, he says, respected sir, I'm a joint replacement surgeon. Sometimes I ask very shallow questions. Please don't get irritated. Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Giant sir, is looking at the Iran conflict through the heartland or rimland theory is a useful lens, or is a US policy no longer based on these?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
very good
your
question.
take.
It is,
Yeah.
of course, the heartland and the rimland. Iran
Yeah.
is on the
Look,
rimland.
Iran is on the rimland, but US policy doesn't think that way. Trump doesn't think that way. Trump
He is
thinks
thinking
MAGA.
MAGA.
He is thinking of MAGA. Okay.
Right.
He's, I keep saying, read that Trump strategy which he came out with 3 months back.
Right.
Actually, if you see, things this year have flown from that strategy.
You want to put that slide that you had,
Let me put that slide 1 minute.
which basically, this is from 2025, and
This is a slide I
yes.
made. This is a slide I made when Trump took over.
Yeah.
And I at that time said these are his interest areas. Just look at it. Greenland is in his pocket in some form. Okay.
Yeah.
Canada has got a problem, but he'll get around it. Mexico is in his pocket. Panama is in his pocket. And when you look at South America, all these areas in South America are in his pocket. Complete. Panama, Cuba,
Right.
Venezuela, Colombia, everything. Right? You look here. He's got the Russia-Ukraine war under control. He's got both their hands, both his pocket and both their his hands in both their pockets.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Russia is playing tune to him. Russia is now flipping over towards, they've cut it with China. India, he's got in his pocket. He's forced India into his pocket. Whether you like it or not, many people might not like what I'm saying, but he's done that. Okay. He's controlling West Asia. Iran was a significant thing which is sorting out today. Okay. Japan, he's revived completely.
Right.
Okay. Today, Japan is, yesterday, Sanai Takechi went and spoke to Trump and she said Japan is back.
Yeah.
Very, very important for China. Target is China. Very clear. And he's going as per that thing. That's what I thought I'll put across.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me take one more question before we finish because it will become a little right. Yeah, this is a very interesting question. I've heard an US Army veteran saying that pilots cost way more than a fighter jet because you have to train a pilot and pay salary. Your views on that?
I think over the long term thing, it would. That would be the case. Yes. Over 3-4 decades of a pilot, then you have to
Yeah.
pay the benefits and all of that. Yeah, it would
Mm.
amount to quite a bit. But it won't be
Yeah.
more than a fighter jet. It won't be a fighter jet upfront cost is what, about 100 million?
Look, it's not a matter of this thing. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, you need, for any fighter force, the number of pilots you need is about 2 times the number of this thing you have. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. This is glad someone called the PM out. Varun, I'm not calling the PM out.
No, we're
Please
not calling the
understand.
PM.
I'm
Yeah.
not calling the PM out. We are in a democracy,
Yeah.
right? We need to point out a few issues. I think still, Mr. Narendra Modi is by far a very good Prime Minister of India at this point of time. Probably is the best in the lot.
Yeah.
Looking at it apolitically. But that doesn't mean you don't highlight the problems which our government has.
And I think what General
Yeah,
Shankar
you-
said was that what the Prime Minister has said from the Red Fort is not translating into action. And I think he was very upset about the fact that theatre commands have not come 6 years after they've been announced. Of course, the current Chief of Defence Staff, General Chauhan, is on course, and I think we should be seeing some results soon. But he's worried about the delay, and of course, the mission Sudarshan Chakra, he's announced it on the 15th of August, 2025. It's been 8 months since then. We have not seen any action on that so far. There's been no
Yeah.
movement. There's no this thing. So that's also there's a sense of frustration with the pace of thing. It's not about
Change.
the Prime Minister. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing personal about the Prime Minister. I think he's a good man, personally.
Yes.
Right? Can Israel send troops? It's a good question, actually.
It's a good question, but where? Where will they send troops?
Yeah, I think they can. We are all discounting Israeli special troops. Can
To-
Israel send troops? Yeah, to
To the
assist the
Strait of
Marines.
Hormuz, to on
Yeah,
the
to
southern,
assist the wherever.
right.
I mean, we are counting that force out, which has not been used. You also count Israel need not send troops here. Israel can infiltrate troops behind.
Right.
They have assets behind. They can undermine the thing. So there's a lot. It's not a foolish question, Abhishek, as you thought. It's a very
Yeah.
good question.
It's a deep
Right.
question. It's a deep
It's a
question that's
deep question.
deeper than the Persian Gulf. The
Yeah.
Persian Gulf is a
Okay.
shallow sea.
Shallow thing. Yeah. So I think we've covered everything,
Yes,
and
I think-
I would request you to wrap it up because I have to really
Thank
run
you.
after this.
Thank you very much, General Shankar, once again for that burst of clarity from you. We will watch this very closely. Again, just to quickly wrap up what General Shankar says, that I maintain that it was Kharg Island, but General Shankar says that it's going to be the Straits of Hormuz. I think he has a point there because if you control the straits, then the whole thing is a ball, right? The Kharg becomes useless then. And you can achieve your military objectives by capturing the Straits of Hormuz far more with less bloodshed, violence, and time than it would for Kharg. But who knows how things could play out? I think I mean, I really appreciate this big picture that you've given us, General Shankar. Once again, to at the risk of sounding like a fawning courtier, I must say that your insights have been so spot on. The big picture that you've given over the last year, 2 years, has been fascinating. It is of a nature that you don't see on many other podcasts, and that is why I think this is so unique, and that's why all of you must tune in. 9 a.m. I sit down and I ask General Shankar because his knowledge of the world is, of course, far greater than mine. His perspectives are very different. I may not agree with all of his, perspectives, but then history has a way of proving General Shankar right. So we'll watch this very closely, and we'll be back Saturday 9 a.m. Next week, same time, same space. Do tune in, and meanwhile, please like, share, subscribe. Gunner's Shot and Chakra News.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and Jai Hind to all of you. And I must remind everyone, evening, gunner shot, we're going to have General Saxena. He's going to tell us how and why the Iranian air defense failed. That's going to be an interesting discussion we're going to have. Join us at 8 o'clock. Till then, have a great time. And thanks a lot, Sandeep. Have a great day. Jai Hind to
Thank
all
you,
of you.
sir. Have a great day and a weekend. Bye bye.